better on the light for folks. Okay, so we are live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my phone up. Okay, so we are live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my phone up so that I can take comments and questions. So I'm giving people a couple minutes just to come onto this, onto the live feed, and I'm just gonna like put a share out on the invitation, let people know that we are live. But let me tell you, this is a workout. Or maybe I'll do the reverse actually. I'll just make it loud on this side and quiet on this side. I think that works. Cool, perfect. So yeah, if you have comments, feel free to write them on the. So yeah, if you have comments, feel free to write them on the page. And we're just going to start it off. I'm just going to get myself set up here. Facebook Live is tricky business. It's easy on your phone, but it takes a little bit more work to do it on your computer. So if that's your interest on your desktop, you can do it that way using OBS. It's kind of a free broadcasting tool, or you can use maybe live stream. I think it's like $50 a month. Okay, so now we're back in action. Oh, geez, Louise. That was a workout. So, okay, here we go. We're gonna kick it off. Hopefully you guys can see me okay. I think it's cutting me off a little bit. I'll open it up so you guys can see the top of this. There we go. So let's start it off. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Dominique Garbry and I'm the founder of the Black Women's Guide. And this is my first Facebook Live training video. And we're talking through the 5 myths to avoid when building a business. So these are things that you've heard that you should be doing when you're trying to build a content business. I know we have content people and product people, or people that want to build a product but don't have enough money to necessarily build a product and are thinking about content as a way to build distribution networks, get more eyeballs onto their product as well. So this is for all of you. And today we're going to talk through these 5 different myths and what they are and how to let's debunk them a little bit, and let's talk through some strategies and techniques you can use to actually move you forward in your business and the process. So The first one is short-term thinking. So there is this kind of myth in the startup community and the content community of like, get it out there, ship really fast, ship early, like make mistakes, fail fast, and do all this stuff right now. And I think what that translates to for people is like a lot of urgency and a sense of anxiety in terms of building their business, right? Let's see if you guys see this. So that is something that I think people struggle with, is this idea of short-term thinking. Because they feel like I'm trying to make money right now, right? And so even though they understand, like let's say for example, you have a goal, like a big goal, right? Like so, like this big goal. Maybe this goal is like, you know, to buy a house. Or maybe it's to make $1 million, right? Like whatever that big goal is, right? Short-term thinking sabotages that effort in two different ways. The first is because most people think, if they're like, okay, my goal is to buy a house, and that's going to take me 3 years, then they're like, okay, in 3 years I'm going to build a house, I'm going to buy a house, right? Then I'm going to hit my goal, right? They think that they're starting from here, meaning they're like, okay, this is my starting point. I need to build a business in 3 years to buy a house, and what I'm going to do to build a business is a couple things. I'm going to get an LLC, I'm going to make the product, right? And then I'm going to sell it, right? At a very fundamental level, this is what every kind of business owner thinks is actually happening. They're like, oh, I'm just going to do these 3 things. And they kind of set up these timelines. So like, you know, year 1, I'm going to do the LLC and kind of just figure out the product or something. And then I'm going to just be selling it, right? Without these interim goals. And I hear this all the time when I hear people say, I had a gentleman I was working with, he's trying to build a business, and he's like, well, I really want to have this in place I really want to make $500,000 by December. Like he was building a nonprofit, he wanted to get grants and foundation money. And I was like, okay, and I'm telling him, I said, well, listen, I think given what you're telling me, I think that's like unreasonable. I think maybe next April might be more reasonable to get those grants in. He's like, I've been waiting for so long. I said, well, here's the thing about waiting, right? Like, you're the reason why you're not making any money. My plan that I'm sharing with you is just the reality of the situation. You can tell me all day that you don't want to listen to that, or like that's not your plan, or that's not your idea, or like you have a bigger plan. But anyone can write down a plan on paper, right? But like, executing it is the hard part. So you can tell me that you want to make $500,000 by December, but are you making $500,000 by December? If you're not, what are you going to do? And so what happens oftentimes is that people create these goals thinking that they're starting from here when they're actually starting from here. Like this is actually their starting point. The question is, how do you get from here to here? This is actually your midpoint. Right? I don't even know if this like sounds. I'm gonna turn this down because this sounds killing me. This echo in the computer. Okay, there we go. So, right? So it's like you're here. You're trying to buy a house in 3 years. You're like, I'm gonna start a business. I'm gonna write an LLC. I'm gonna make the product. And I'm gonna sell it, which is a very basic, fundamental understanding of how to build a business. Right? And then you're like, okay, let me start. And so what happens is because you don't have a clarity around, this is actually not 1, 2, 3, it's actually 1A, B, C, D, it's 2A, right? B, C, D. There's all these sub-steps into each of these categories. And actually this phase of selling it is actually what we call like running a business, right? It's not starting one, it's running one. Because this is startup. This is like, I'm building. I'm getting the foundation laid. I'm getting the structure in place so I can build. I'm making the product and finding what the product needs to be, right? That's all here. This is actually like, how do I actually sell this thing? And then how do I increase sales? By this point in time, I should be selling regularly. And I should be trying to increase my sales so I can hit my goal, right? So when we talk about short-term thinking, oftentimes what I hear people say to me is like, I always want to make some money, or I'm trying to build my business, and they're just like running around with their head cut off, but they feel super urgent about building their business, right? But there's no framework that says, here's what reality looks like, versus here's what you think is happening, right? So this idea of like, now, go, 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 you get to operate really quickly when you have the clarity behind the action. And most people don't spend time in this area building up that clarity so that they can actually operate very quickly. So they can fail fast and they can ship early and all this other stuff that you might hear in the community. You really need to kind of get past this myth of like now, 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 now. Because there's a whole part before now, which is like, before I execute, I plan, I think, I test, I experiment, I understand, and then I do. Right? So think about that. That's the first myth I want to just bust, is that like short-term thinking does not serve you. Long-term thinking serves you, and getting a long-term goal is the beginning of a process in long-term thinking. Short-term goals are great for long-term thinking, not short-term thinking for long-term goals. I'm going to say that again, right? Short-term goals for long-term thinking is great. Short-term goals for long-term thinking is great. Short-term thinking for long-term goals, not so good. So that is the first myth that I want to bust, is that stop thinking short-term about your business. Realize that it takes a long time to grow something. Starting something is just the first step in a long line of other tasks to build and grow your business to make sustainable revenue. So if you can't see that long term, if you don't have the patience for that year or 2 years, I'm not saying make no money for the first 2 years. I'm just simply saying if you can't take the time to grow, if you can't give your business what it requires to grow at 6 months, at 12 months, at 1 year, at 5 years, then you don't want to build that business. People that build tech startups or people that are building businesses, that are building franchises, they're spending 3, 5, 7, 10 years on these businesses. They are growing every single year. They're making more money every single year, but they're staying with it. If you don't have the ability to stay with your business, then it's not the business for you. And so stop being so urgent and short-term about what you're trying to build. And that's why you flip all the time, because it's like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do a podcast, and I'm going to do a webinar, and now I'm going to do an ebook, and da-da-da, because you're like too urgent about the quick money, or what you think is quick money, which is not quick money, right? Someone told you that story, that this is quick money, so like you're doing all this stuff, and you never get them off the ground, and you don't sustain themselves. So get out of short-term thinking. That's the first myth I want to bust. Now I'm going to wipe this all down and get on to number 2. So the second myth that we're going to bust today is doing it all at once. So this is for all the perfectionists out there, right? For all my type A folks, right? Like everyone out there wants to build everything in a bubble by themselves in a room and then present it to the world like it's perfect and get whatever. But what's so true, just like this example of Facebook Live, I've been using Facebook Live on my phone for weeks, right? But this is my first time doing Facebook Live with my desktop or my laptop, whatever. So like, there's no situation, I went online, I learned how to set it up, but there's no situation that's going to teach me how to use the tool versus using the tool in real time in real life. And there's no way for me to have used this tool 3 months ago when I wasn't building a Facebook Live program, right? So like, doing it all at once, this fake idea of doing it all at once doesn't serve you, right? What I mean by that is like, you might be sitting there going, well, I have to do a logo. I have to do a website. I have to create a podcast, right? I have to make, X amount of my product in advance. Like, no. You know that I don't even have a logo for Black Women's Guide? I went on Canva and just created a nice little logo with I made a box, I just found some pretty text, and I scripted it for free because my brand is still evolving as I grow it, right? So like, you don't need to do all these things. In fact, what's going to happen is as things come up, as you grow, things will become required of you. And then from that perspective, you'll be able to build those things. So for example, you have a cupcake business and you sell cupcakes at markets and different events. Someone asks you, hey, do you ship them? You say, yeah, just like email me and send me an order. Now you get 5 people, now it's 3 months later, you get 5, 10, 15, 20 people who are asking you if you ship these cupcakes. Now I need to build a website or some way for you to actually purchase them. Is it just email this link and just send me what you want? Or email me, I send you the list, and here's a PayPal link, and you just pay me the amount? Like, how lo-fi or low fidelity or simple can I make the system so I can reduce my costs and only build when I need to? Because there's no reason for me to have a website that I structure, pay someone on WordPress to develop and all this stuff when no one's buying my stuff online yet. And even when they go to buy it online, maybe my images have changed and my prices have changed and all this stuff has changed. So why did I pre-build? Why did I build so early? It's because it's fear that we did all these things in a row. You're not Coca-Cola. You don't have to have this beautiful, spotless brand. People are judging you on the quality of your content or the quality of your product, not necessarily every single display mark. I know people think like, oh no, but I want to have a good presentation. You should have a good presentation. But that doesn't mean you need 85 things. I don't need a business card to get business. I can just take your business card and email you. Right? So you have to do it all at once. I see people all the time who are like, oh, upcoming next month we're doing these 6 things. And I'm like, really? How? You're going to be exhausted. The product's going to be crappy. Like, why? Because you have this need to do you told this story that you need to have all these things happening at one time. And you just don't. In fact, it's the actual reverse. You build as you need. So, because when you actually have to start building by yourself, you realize that one task takes a lot of time. Me setting up this Facebook Live took me like an hour. Me prepping this little mini presentation took me an hour. And it's nothing crazy, right? This is like basic fundamental stuff. But I still have to write the agenda, the script, I have to kind of know what I'm talking about, all these different things. So you have to realize that like every step takes its own time. And there's no reason to preemptively do that because guess what? It's going to come to you anyway when you're ready for it. It's going to say to you, hey, you're getting enough validation that this is the next path that you need to start acting now. You're getting enough people who want to buy your product online that it's time to make a website. You're getting enough people that like your blog that it's time for you to start thinking about how to create additional content, right? It's going to push you there. So you don't have to pre-build. Don't overbuild. People overbuild all the time. Like I have a Snapchat, I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and I have a Facebook. That I just set up. I don't really do anything on them. I just have them there. Really, I put like a couple things on there for dummy stuff just so I have the names kept. But I don't post on any of those platforms. Maybe Twitter once in a while. Maybe Snapchat once in a blue moon. I'm on Facebook all day long. For many of you guys who are following me, you know I'm on Facebook. Why? Because I'm answering people's questions. I'm commenting when someone likes my stuff. I'm asking them what they do for what their business is, how I can help. So I'm in Facebook all day long. That's only one platform. I don't have to be in 15, right? So doing it all at once is a myth that we've heard. You have to do all these things prepared for you to start a business. You do not. You just need to know what you're trying to get toward and let the things come to you as you evolve. It's going to be better for you. It's going to be better for your business. It's going to be better for your budget. It's going to be better for having people evolve with you through the process of your business than it is trying to do all this stuff up front and then you get exhausted before you even start. Like I know a lot of us get exhausted before we even start, right? Because you're just doing all these different things. Process of your business. Then it is trying to do turn down the sound. It's echoing. Then you get exhausted before you even start. Right. Let me know if it's still echoing, guys. Sorry, because it's a little bit funny. And I'll check it in a second. I just put it on for a second on my phone, so it did echo briefly, but hopefully the echo is gone now. But yeah, so don't overbuild, which brings me to my next point. And at the end, what I'll do is I'll take questions on my phone because then I don't have to have both of them on and then it won't echo. Next one, too much social media. I'm looking at you because like I just said, there's this big myth, like you have to have like this multi-channel marketing strategy, right? Like you're like, oh, okay, I'm whatever X brand and I have to have a Facebook, I have to have a Pinterest, I have to have a Twitter, I have to have an Instagram, I'm already tired, I have to have a Snapchat, what else? What else is there? I don't even know. There's probably so many others I can't even think of right now. I have to have a YouTube, right? So there's this idea out there that you have to be on all these platforms. You have to have a multi-channel marketing strategy, which requires you to be on various social media channels to get the word out. What I want to share with you guys today is that this is like the biggest faux pas of all freaking time. Because for two reasons. One, Each platform has so many followers that you don't even need to go to another platform to make money. Like, that's the hoax. Like, you don't even need to be on all these platforms to make money. You just need to be on one. So, you might already have like 3 different channels. You might be on Instagram, you might be on Twitter, you might be on Facebook, or whatever. And what I really want to push you is to pick one platform that you can dominate, that you're going to go all in on. Like I just said, I'm on Facebook all the time. I comment, I write, I post, I share, I go into other groups, I participate. Like I'm in it. Right? Like I'm not doing a Twitter Periscope right now, I'm doing a Facebook Live. Why? Because I'm on Facebook. It's a choice I made. Now, does it mean that over time you don't want to be on other platforms? Sure. But in the beginning, master one platform. Make money in one platform. And then from there, you can then grow into other platforms. Because here's the thing. Like people will say, oh, well, I use like, Hootsuite. Or I use Buffer. Right? Like, so my thing is, why? This is a novice mistake. And the reason why is this. Because you're creating, for 2 reasons. One, you're creating content, let's say on Facebook, and you're reposting it through Hootsuite. And it's going to post on Instagram. Well, that Facebook post isn't made for Instagram conversions. So yeah, you're posting it and someone might like it, but like it's not going to convert to sales or convert to signups or to convert to click-throughs like your Facebook ad is because you're making an ad for Facebook. So the conversion rate dramatically dropped when you try to use Hootsuite or Buffer in other platforms, particularly when you're selling content. Right? So there's not much utility. The second thing is, think about your main social media platform as your family, and think about all the other ones as your distant cousins. Right? You see your family every single day. You talk to them on the phone, you give them gifts, you help them out, whatever. Your distant cousins, like you might know about what they're doing, they might know about what you're doing, but you don't hang out that often, each other once a year. That's all your other social media platforms that you're not actually active on, but you're still posting to. They're half dormant. It's like you're keeping them warm. Warm for what? If I have 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 followers on Facebook, what's 100 people on Instagram going to do for me? By the time I have this many people on Facebook, I can just pay someone to help me dominate Instagram, and I can go from 0 to 100 like this. I can go to 0 to 1,000 like this. So this becomes irrelevant. And in the interim, when I'm doing this, I'm wasting my own time. Again, you're trying to cut out the barriers that stop you from starting. And creating tons of social media content, going on Hootsuite and Buffer and posting all these different platforms, or getting interns to post on your behalf and all this whatever, right, does not serve you. Particularly if you're making a content business, because it's about your authenticity, right? And they want to be able to connect with you directly because you're the knowledge base, you're the expert. Your intern isn't the expert. What are they going to put on Twitter for you? Nothing, right? So you really need to think about just anchoring into one platform first and recognize that these don't serve you. It wastes your time and it stops you before you start because it's overwhelming and it's exhausting to put all this stuff. And the other thing I want to mention, particularly for like things like Twitter, which I know a lot of people are on Twitter, particularly black women, is that Twitter's a real-time platform. It's news, they often do giveaways, discounts, things like that. When you post on Hootsuite, you're posting to schedule. So this isn't not live data. What if you put a post on there that like you put on Saturday for next Wednesday and it's just like not valid anymore? You're not able to capture the real-time activity that's happening. Something big's happening in the news and you can't capture that as an opportunity for posting because you're doing this on Hootsuite. Hootsuite isn't real time. So again, when you have a mega machine behind you, I think Hootsuite's great. I think in the beginning, or Buffer's great. But I think in the beginning, when you're building a content business, your authenticity matters so much. Just be you on one platform and commit to that platform. And do really good by those people in that platform. Right? Because that's really like what the goal is. Right? Is to do good by people in that platform. I'm going to just check my sound real quick as we break at this third one to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Okay, so sound is cool. Great. So, want to recap the first 3 things. The first, the myth that we're busting is short-term thinking. That you have to do everything now. You don't, and you shouldn't. The second is myth we're busting is doing it all at once, pre-creating everything. Most people can't create content in advance. And the reason why you also don't want to is because you don't know what people actually are going to want. Like, yeah, you can maybe do an ebook or something, but if you're doing a course, like the first course you build, like you don't know what people actually want. Like you might have an agenda and kind of a framework for the course you're going to offer, but you don't actually know the first time that everything you have is like what people actually want. So why would you spend all that time and money videoing, editing, doing all this stuff when you haven't proven true yet that the content you're selling is actually what people want? So the first time you do a course, it's a lot easier and faster to build it as you go. Put a basic framework together, and then do your workshop each week, and then the next week spend some time and refigure and tweak it and make sure that it's responsive to the audience's needs. Once you do that a couple times, then you can have a product you can pre-create and sell, because now you actually know it meets the audience's need, right? So you don't have to do it all at once, and you shouldn't. The third thing, again, is just too much social media. Just anchor in. And I'll talk about one other thing that I think confuses people, which I think is important to just clarify. It's not unreasonable, for example. Like, so if I use my landing page tool is Megaphone. People use lead pages, different things you can use, Lander app, whatever, there's a ton. And for me to put in a video into my landing page, I have to use a YouTube link. So when I create a video on my computer, I put it into YouTube. I'm not running a YouTube channel. YouTube is my storage engine. Now, can you go on YouTube and see my videos? Sure, I probably have like 1 or 2 up there. Can you search on YouTube like Black Women Business and probably find my stuff? Sure. But I am not actively managing and curating a community on YouTube, right? It's just my storage vehicle. So think about that. You might, for example, do the same thing. You might say, like, I post my pictures on Facebook, but I'm using Instagram as my storage vehicle. And that's okay. And it does have that dual thing, just like, again, your family versus all your distant cousins, of keeping communities warm by default. But they have utility. Like, I didn't just make a YouTube channel. I had to use YouTube, so it had utility. Right? I don't post pictures on Instagram because I don't take that many pictures. I do put video on Snapchat sometimes because they're shorter, and so that I put on Facebook. But I use Snapchat as a storage for like short mini videos, or I use it YouTube for short mini videos. 90% of the time I use YouTube. Right? So I keep my stuff very simple. Yes, do I have these links? Sure. Do I check them once in a while, see what's interesting, see if I'm, whatever? Yeah. But like 90% of my activity, not even, 99% is on Facebook. And that's it. And Facebook has the biggest audience in the world, period, point blank. So don't tell me you can't find someone to sell to in Facebook, because Facebook is the selling platform. It has the best ad opportunities, better than Google SEO. If you want to sell something, you're going to want to be on Facebook, next probably Google, before you even go to Twitter. Yes, Twitter can drive a lot of traffic for sure. Their ads don't really work as great. So it has to be organic traffic that you build over time, which is a lot harder to do. Versus on Facebook, you can do ads and build that audience really quickly. Right? Okay, so that's the third thing, too much social media. So, the fourth myth. And you can see, guys, this is like super like basic. I'm just like, I didn't pay for a nice ass conference room. Like, here's the thing, like no one can take away what you know. What you learn and what you know in your mind is what you have as an asset. No one can take it away from you. As long as people understand what you're saying, hear what you're saying, see what you're saying, you're good. Do I do fancy videos? Yes, I do too. But this one's basic on Facebook Live. The fourth myth, or thing that you want to avoid, the fourth mistake, right, is nothing to sell. You have this huge audience, and you're like, I'm not making any money off of them. And I'm like, what are you selling? They're like, nothing. I'm like, well, that's your problem. It's pretty obvious, but most people forget that. They don't know what, and I think what's really important about this is, like, if you're starting a business or you have a content business or you already have a community online already, you're already on Twitter, people are already following you, you're already on Instagram, people are already following you, is that you might have like a mixed message, right? So I, for example, have Black Women's Guide, and I have the Black Women's Guide to Business. So you can see my hand, right? So I have two different kind of sub-brands, right? So my Black Women's Guide, the focus is like 90 or 80% business, but there's like 10% which is like life, kind of life stuff. But Black Women's Guide to Business is like my content arm. That's where I sell my content. So if you have a following, and let's say you talk about, I don't know, you talk about hair and like being your authentic self. You've actually split your conversation in 2 categories in one platform. Because now you're talking about hair, and you might feel like, oh, I can talk about being authentic through this experience of being natural and whatever, right? Okay, cool. But the minute you make a video that's purely about just like loving yourself and who you are, people will still watch it and they'll still like it, but it's off topic. And if you go to sell a product in a course, they're going to be expecting you to sell a hair product. And that's what you've situated yourself as. If you decide to sell like a, get into your greatness course, they're going to be like, that's not really what I know you for. Right? So it's really important that you sell what you know. And that you have something to sell. So what things can you sell relatively quickly and easily? So outside of courses, because courses take a little bit more work and a little bit more time, but what things can you sell? You can sell audio. You can sell ebooks. You can sell consulting sessions. To do this, you have to decide what your expertise is. You can't sell something if you don't know what your expertise is, right? But like you could do audio of like, maybe it's like you reading different poems that are, I don't know, about hair, or like, you telling, different motivational quotes every morning that they can listen to, 30 of them for the month, sell it for like $5. You know what I mean? You could do an ebook on different hairstyles people can rock, that they can like, step by step, they can take with them. You could do a consulting session where you could do a Skype with them and be like, let me see your hair, what's going on, and we can talk it through out loud if they have tons of hair damage, right? So you could do a couple of different things here that don't take 8, 10, 15, 20, 30 weeks to build. If you already have an audience, these things are pretty straightforward. Now, if you are building an audience from scratch, I would say you actually want to build a course. So if you already have an audience that exists, these are easy things you can do to start engaging them and selling content while you build your course. You already have the audience, so you don't need to wait to sell something. But if you don't have an audience, trying to garner a huge audience just to sell an ebook probably isn't worth it. Unless you're going to say all I'm doing is selling ebooks. All I'm going to do all day is sell ebooks, which you can also choose. But if you're not, I say start with a course. But the biggest problem people have is they have nothing to sell. If you don't have anything to sell, the thing you can also do is you can pre-sell. I know a ton of people that say, like, sign up to pre-order my upcoming book. Sign up to pre-order my upcoming course. Sign up to pre-order my upcoming training, 3-step training, live training online. You can even do that, a 3-step live training online for $5. It's just going to get you in the habit of learning how to sell, because most likely, the reason you are not making any money is because you're not actually selling anything. Like, you're not actually doing this. You don't have to sell. You have no product to give people. Make a product. It's the silliest, most obvious mistake we make. We're like, oh, I have to be on all these platforms. I have to drive people to my website. I have to get more YouTube links. But you're like, what are you selling? It's like, oh, nothing. Now, can you do ads? Can you say, like, I'm going to do YouTube and I'm going to get ad revenue? Yeah, that's completely fine. Completely fine. But you need to know you're doing that. Most people don't even know they're doing that. So the biggest question, the thing I have, they kind of think, if I just build an audience, I'll just make money. And like, I can do, sponsorships and I can do giveaways, and like, I'm like, where's the business model behind your business that says this is actually how I'm going to actually make this much money in this much time by doing this activity? There's no process. People have no process, right? What's the like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do X this many times, right? Which is Y. 3 to get this much money. X, Y, Z. I'm going to do X, right? Y amount of times to make Z amount of money. What's that math? You need that math in your life, okay? So that's number 4. And the last one. So I'm going to end probably at like 1:45, and I'll leave it for questions. The last mistake people make is not having a budget. No budget. You just want to build a business with no budget. How much money are you going to spend building your business each month? Reoccurring. There's fixed costs, there's reoccurring costs, right? So a fixed cost might be like setting up your LLC. That's like a one-time fee that you pay annually. Or not, no, sorry, once, but your URL, sorry, it's when you pay annually, but it's one time each year, right? But like there's other things that you might pay for monthly. So I'm going to break down the kind of things that you might pay for, but it's important that you have a budget because I think people are like, oh, I have no money. Well, then you're not building a business. That's it. I don't care if you're only spending $10 a month. You need to know that. I think people have this, they don't get specific. They're like, oh, I don't have enough money, or that's expensive, or that's not. Like, what, it's all opinion. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you trying to build, and how long do you need to build it, and then therefore, how much will it actually cost, right? So the first thing I'd say for if you try to build a budget, things you should consider. These are like mostly reoccurring things, but okay, so services. So this could be anything from like, again, it could be your URL, it could be your accounting software. A lot of stuff is free. Like I don't use QuickBooks. I don't overbuild. I don't use QuickBooks. I use Wave. Accounting, which I really like. I've used them for years. It's free. It's awesome. I'm sure I could buy a premium account. I don't need one. It's rocking. I like it. So I use Wave Accounting. But accounting services, your LLC, right? These are all just kind of costs. So this is one area of cost that you should do the math on, right? The second area of cost, for building a budget, is what I would call like web services. But like, it's like, do you need a website? And is there a monthly fee for hosting? Right? Do you need a landing page service? Do you need an email service? Do you need a scheduling service? These are all based on your web services, right? But they actually can cost money. Some are free. So MailChimp, is free for up to a certain amount of people. So that works, Scheduling can be a little bit. Landing pages can be anything from like free to like $10 to $50 to depending on what you're buying. Website fees can be $8 a month to $30, $40 a month because of what you're building. So these are static costs that are going to happen every single month that you need to be aware of, right? The third thing I would include is like content costs. And this could be like a nice, video. It could be, what's it called? Audio equipment. Sorry, my writing is horrible, guys. So it could be video, like you need, maybe, I don't do a ton of nice video, but I do some. And that, that video might cost $300, $500 to do that video. How many nice videos do you want? How many can you do on your own? Right? That's a question that you get to ask because that's going to cost you a certain amount of money each month. I use, for example, a thing called, I can post it below. It's called Promo, but they do, you can do one video a month for $50. I also pay for my own video to be done, and that costs me about $500, and I probably do that like 4 or 5 times a year. I also do my own video for free that I just do myself. Audio equipment, I have a podcast mic, I have a ring light, I have, a GoPro, I have a lavalier, right? Those things are hard costs that only cost once, but all that probably costs almost $1,000 when you add it all up, right? You don't have to get the super nice versions either. You can get cheap versions. But I'm just saying that these are things you should be considering. If you're writing ebooks, like, yeah, can you make your own covers? Can you do your own editing? Can you make them pretty inside the ebook? Yes, you can. But you might sometimes want to go on Fiverr and get someone to fix and edit your stuff for $35. Or make you a nice, front page and an appendix and cover letter and all that stuff like that, whatever. That might cost you $50. So those are like costs that you don't think about. So when people say like, oh, I have no money, it's like, you don't even know what your business costs. Your business could cost $0 to $5,000 to $10,000 a month. I mean, it's whatever you want to do. So you have to know where you live in that space, and that dictates how much time things take. Because when you do things 100% manually by yourself, it takes a lot more time. Back to that idea of like, you're actually starting here versus here, and you're trying to figure out how to get there, right? Like, If you do it yourself, it's going to take a longer time to get there. If you have someone to help you with a part, maybe you can take out 1 or 2 steps and get there a little bit faster. All the routes are 100% okay. It's just about getting really clear. And I just think people are not clear. Every time I talk to different women, they're super pumped about their businesses, but they're just not clear on the detail of what they're trying to build, how they're going to build it, and why they're building it. And it makes them distracted. It makes them jump from one thing to the other. They lose momentum. They lose faith. They get worn out. They go broke. All these things happen because they're not doing the due diligence, which says, why do I want to build this thing? And why do I think it's the right path for me to build this thing? Because if you want to build, let's say, a jewelry business, but you have no money to like mass scale jewelry, then you start with content. You have to know that those things are connected. Otherwise, you're going to be trying to build a jewelry business while you're trying to build another kind of business, and that's going to exhaust you. So many times I see women building 3 different businesses at once, or 2 different businesses at once. And I've done that back in the day. And it's exhausting, and you can't sustain it. So if you can't connect the why and say, I'm creating a building block ladder scenario for myself, then you're not going to be able to sustain your business, right? So that's the first thing. It's like, get really clear on the why. Then get really clear on the what. Like, what's the first thing I'm going to build? What's the first thing I'm going to sell? And there's a whole process for doing that, but you want to figure out what you're going to sell. And then you're going to want to figure out how to do it, which is like, how much, the first question is like, how much does it cost, or what things I have to do to like get this off the ground? And then how much do those things cost at the cheapest possible level? What things can I absorb myself that I know how to do? What things do I have to pay someone else to do? What do I need? What's the minimum that I need to do to move forward, not the max? So for example, people are like, oh, I asked this kid one day in the startup I was working with to find what kind of, look at Google Analytics and look at some other analytic products. And he pulls up Kissmetrics. Kissmetrics is like $100, $200, $300 a month. I'm like, you hardly even have a business. You hardly are making any money. So you're overbuilding because you want to be this fly business person with all these cool products and doing all the things right, and you want the best service and the best stuff, but you're overbuilt when you can just use Google Analytics for free. Trust me, when you need something more, you'll know. So make sure you have a budget. I don't care if the budget is 0. You need to know it. You need to know that you're building everything from scratch and kind of to find every free tool you can find to build what you need to build. Because the minute you spend $20, you might not even have an LLC. You might be just going to work, whatever, using your paycheck money to build something. But if you don't know that it costs $10 the first month and $60 the second and $200 the third, you're going to mess up your own personal finances. So you have to know. So those are the 5 things, and I keep saying myths, but they're actually mistakes. The 5 mistakes that people make and what you want to avoid is short-term thinking, doing it all at once, doing too much social media in the beginning, not having anything actually to sell people, and not having a budget for your business. So those are the 5 things. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch. I'm just going to check this, and in the comments, if you have any questions, I'm going to turn this down so it doesn't echo.